Alright, I increased the bit rate for this video so that you could actually see stuff. Hopefully it comes out a little bit better quality. So this is the USA Truck Terminal. This is the truck I tested in. They didn't test me in a manual, so I think maybe they don't have any manuals available to assign to anybody. So they just are testing everybody in automatics now, because I'm guessing that that's the manual that they test in, and they can just swap it to another trailer. I have no idea. My trainer told me that I'm getting an automatic anyway. He said the manuals in the fleet are really, really old and I don't want one, even though they pay 3 cents a mile extra for one. So I took my road test about an hour ago, passed it. This thing sorry about that. This thing wouldn't really pass a real inspection. There's damaged tires, there's cupping on the tires on the trailer, there's a whole bunch of issues like this right here. Your lines are not supposed to be dragging. Just tons of little things, but that's to be expected with training vehicles and testing vehicles. They don't really run them through DOT inspection stations, so they're not really up to par. So those are, I don't know, if all of these trucks here are those International ProStars over there. I don't think they're in service anymore. It's weird here at the terminal right now because I think that they're firing people today because they're shutting this terminal down. They sent a message yesterday telling drivers sorry. I haven't been coughing all day, but when I started talking, it's irritating my throat and making me cough. But right now, it's really awkward. I'm trying to stay out of the building because there's a whole lot of whispering going on. I've seen somebody turn in their badge. I think that people are being let go. So it's kind of awkward in here. I don't even think the shop is open anymore. I think all the shop people have already been let go. I haven't seen anything happen at the shop. None of the bays are open. Looks like there's some people over there. What my words? I can't find them. They're taking a list, basically. That's not what I'm looking for. They're over there itemizing everything, all the tires, the number of tires and stuff that they have. So it looks like, yeah, there's a whole bunch of closure activities going. They're shutting this place down, so they're trying to get a list of everything, all the assets on this site, figure out what they're going to do with them and stuff. This closure seems abrupt, and I think I overheard as I was leaving a room that they're not offering relocation or alternative jobs. They're just basically letting people go, which really, really sucks. So I wonder if these people are just now getting assigned a truck, or if that's their truck that they parked there. I don't know how long it's going to take them to get me assigned a truck. I'm not in there pestering them. I suspect it's going to take a while because I just saw them assign somebody a truck, and that person has been here a long time, before I took my road test an hour ago. So I don't know how far down the list I am, but it looks like they have a ton of trucks here. I kind of want a Freightliner. I kind of want an International. I don't want a Kenworth. And I think the most likely truck I'm going to get is a Kenworth. So I drove an International in the road test, and I'm not going to use that as, a judgment on, oh, that one looks like it has a DirecTV satellite on top of it. That thing is sticking up higher than the tractor. That's not cool. They have to be really really careful with low bridges and shit. Yeah, the one that team just got into looks like it has a satellite. Oh, speaking of satellites, I was planning on making a whole video for the satellite thing, because there's a rumor going around that you get free DirecTV with USA Truck, and that is not really true. I was thinking about making a whole video on it, but I wanted to get my facts straight before I made that video. So since I'm just kind of like winging it right now, I'll tell what I think I know. Miguel told me that they started up some kind of like pilot program, a test. And I think he said it was 40 trucks. They were all Freightliners, and it was a few years back. And he said that those trucks had free DirecTV in them, and they decided to end the program because the people that had those trucks were constantly having issues with being on time and being ready to pick up loads and stuff like that. They were sitting around watching TV all the time. I can't understand that. That sounds weird to me. But supposedly they squashed the program for that, so there are still approximately 40 Freightliners in the USA Truck fleet that have DirecTV in them. I don't know if USA Truck is still paying the subscription on those, or if they just have the hookups for DirecTV and somebody could turn it on their own. My trainer was under the impression that USA Truck is still paying for DirecTV in those trucks, but he wasn't sure. So maybe it's just the satellites are still there, so you could hook it up if you want to. But they squashed that program. There is no free DirecTV at USA Truck. But yeah, the road test was a lot lengthier than I thought it would be. I drove a lot. It was probably 40 minutes to an hour that I did the road test. He took me on the interstate, on and off. Like, they tested just about everything you could think of. He took me down a lot of roads that were not really designed for trucks, and I had to go out into opposing lanes of traffic and all kinds of stuff to make turns. He took me through some really hairy places that you don't want to be driving trucks. And I went down some truck routes that routed us around some historic districts. And he just basically told me to stay on the truck route. And I just stayed on the truck route until he told me not to. And then he told me he would just tell me like to follow a highway. Basically, he was testing my ability to follow road signs and to stay on route. It was a really in-depth test. Like, whenever they did the road test for people, I think actually my road test, I think the upgrade road test is not the same as like hiring a veteran driver road test, because there were something like 7 people who did road tests in my orientation that were veteran drivers, and they did all 7 of those road tests in a couple of hours. So there is no way that they did the same road test that I just did. Otherwise, it would have taken all day to do those 7 people. So I think the upgrade road test is a lot more in-depth than a new hire road test. But it involved a backing, and it was in a mud yard. And I told him, I said, I'm going to try my best not to have to get out and look for this, because I don't want to walk around in 3 inches of mud. And I managed to get it in there without doing a get out and look. And he didn't really have any feedback at the end of my test. He just said, I did good and I passed. He didn't call out any issues. I think I rolled a couple of stop signs instead of coming to a complete stop. So Aside from that, I didn't hit any curbs. I didn't go up over a curb. I didn't hit anything. I can't think of any real problems I had. I took a few turns a little too wide, but hey. Well, so yeah, it was a pretty extensive road test. It was a more challenging road test than when I got my CDL. And I think it was I think the road test on my CDL was approximately 40 minutes. And I think this one was at least 40 minutes, maybe up to an hour. Because I drove down Highway 64 for probably 15 minutes alone. And then I went down a truck route for like 10 minutes. And then I only went on and off the interstate like real quick. I was only on the interstate for maybe a couple miles, just testing my ability to go on and off the interstate. And the exit that I took was a hairpin, like a 20 mile per hour exit. So testing your ability to get down to speed properly for a really slow exit and to take a slow exit without rolling your truck and stuff. It was a really in-depth test. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, I'm just sitting around. They have my phone number. There's the trainer, my training manager, Sheila. She's out on vacation or sick today. I don't know which, but she's out today. And Bill is covering for her. So Bill's the training manager that's working with me. And then I think Greg, I'm not sure. He didn't tell me his name. He's the one who did the road test on me. He said he's a hybrid position. He works in the training department and in safety. And he's working on getting me a truck assigned right now. So I'm just basically walking around and waiting for them to call me. I didn't want to sit in there next to them because people are constantly coming up and talking to them, their coworkers, and they can't talk about certain stuff while I'm there, and there's a lot of drama going on right now. So I didn't want to sit in there and look like I was eavesdropping on their drama. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on with this terminal shutdown thing. I think a lot of people, unfortunately, are losing their jobs. Feel bad. I hope that they do well. This is a really, 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 really bad time to lose a job because almost every industry I know of is suffering right now. So if you get let go from someplace, it could be very difficult for you to find another job right now. Even in trucking, there are trucking companies that are having meetings right now about the drop in freight. A lot of people may be under the impression that, truck driving is the place to be right now because, everybody wants toilet paper. That is a very, very small sliver of the overall pie. Consumer goods, construction materials, food services. Yeah. People want food at the grocery store. They're buying out food at the grocery store. But restaurants, business is down at restaurants. It's just the buying has shifted from restaurants and cafeterias and things like that over to grocery stores. It's just shifted. That's all that's happened. And people are probably buying more bulk goods like 50-pound bags of rice and crap like that and canned goods. So the buying has changed and it has created more demand in a small sliver of the pie, but the overall demand is down by a lot. Somebody in food service said that they're down something like 80%. They're doing 80% less loads right now than they were last week. And these are food service, what I'm talking about. These are people who deliver to they deliver to restaurants, they deliver to hospital cafeterias, they deliver to, everywhere that serves food. And their orders are down considerably. So that's one of the places that people think is booming right now, and it's not. Everywhere is down. So trucking is not a good place to be. I don't know of anywhere that's a good place to be right now. maybe the medical field. But if your slice of the pie is taking a big hit right now, you're going to move to another slice. So flatbed companies are talking about hauling dry van, because dry van is still, like, that's where most of the freight's at right now. Flatbed hauls a lot of construction materials, and construction is dying right now. So flatbed companies are having meetings about moving over to hauling dry van, and that's just going to saturate the dry van market. So the people that are hauling dry van right now, that are hauling toilet paper at the moment, that think that they're not going to be affected by this, well, when there's 100 times more trucks bidding on those paper loads, you're not going to get as many of them. Other people are going to be awarded that freight, so the number of loads you're able to get are going to be reduced. So and there's only so much the manufacturing and distribution facilities can do. They're going to hit a limit on the number of loads that they can do. There's going to be an overwhelming number of drivers to loads. So I'm concerned about it. I'm just hoping the big thing for me is 3 months of experience. I'm hoping that I'm able to get 3 months of experience before shit hits the fan. If USA Truck were to go out of business right now, which I think is unlikely, then I'm screwed. I think I mentioned in my last video, I only have 1 month of experience right now. 1 month, if I got hired on with another company right now, they would probably want to put me through training. Once you hit the 3 month mark, that's when you can get a job at another company. So I'm just hoping shit doesn't fall apart for the next 2 months. And it's going to put a serious damper on my vision to purchase a truck. They're talking this could last 18 months or more. 18 months is how long they think it's going to take to develop a vaccine. And if they're able to develop a vaccine in 18 months, which they may not be able to, then things could start returning to normal shortly thereafter, within a month or 2 or 3 months, 6 months after that. But we're talking a couple of years at this point. I don't know. I'm sure a lot of people are thinking about things like this. I'm sure a lot of people are sitting there questioning how vital their current job is and how likely they are to lose that job, and whether or not they could make it on the $1,000 a month that the government's talking about paying people. I couldn't live on $1,000 a month. And they're talking about stopping mortgage payments. Well, my mortgage payment is only half of my mortgage payment. My mortgage payment is my property taxes and my insurance are the bulk of my mortgage payment. So, and then I have a car payment, and then I have all kinds of other bills. So unless they just put a stop to all billing, $1,000 a month, that's basically enough to cover food. I mean, it's more than that, but food, fuel, and just basic expenses. It's not enough to really pay bills on top of that. But anyway, I'm sitting here waiting. It's getting hot out here. I think I'm gonna go back inside and sit in the break room under some air conditioning, watch a YouTube video or something. But this is the terminal. When I first went through orientation, way back there in the back along the edge, around this entire thing, was these International ProStars that are sitting right over here. There was probably 50 to 100 of them. They were all across that back line. And it looks like they've gotten rid of most of them. The only ones I see are right here. And all the rest of them in the lot are Kenworths and Freightliners. So I don't know how many of these Kenworths and Freightliners are still in operation, and how many of them are like done. They're not giving them to drivers anymore. So anyway, oh, they have free Wi-Fi here? Oh, I'm gonna have to check that out. Do a speed test. I guess I'll end it there. Thanks for watching. Oh wow, has the camera been like that the whole time? Fuzzy? Wow, has it been fuzzy the whole damn time? I'm not remaking the video. Sorry. I guess it wasn't set on auto zoom or autofocus.